Hey everybody, it is Tuesday, 6 p.m., at least where I live, which means it is time for the Monster Maverick Show. I am your host, Neil, and if you look in Discord, I'm Neil, 2 Castles, 3 Coofs, because I'm still coughing from the COVID. I got the coof. It's been, a month and a half, 2 months now. I'm, more functional, but it's still a thing. So if I cough in your ear, I apologize. But it's either that or no show. So I got a cough drop in right now. I'm rocking the Ricola. If anybody's Swiss, it's good stuff. So so yeah, that's why I'm 3 Coofs. Yes, because this is my second round with COVID, and the first round knocked me out for like 3 months. And then I had other complications. And now this round has been... I was out for like a month and a half. And then this is the second time that I'm back since then. So, I don't know if 3 Coofs is numerically accurate, but it is... it is the name. So, Coofs between the sheets. That's right. We got a bunch of people in here, it looks like. I hope I'm feeling better. I appreciate that. I'm like 85%. So, it's been a journey, let's say, but is what it is. So, see, there's that coof. For those of you who don't know, or if this is your first time tuning in, this show is the Monster Maverick Show. This is the show, about Splinterlands, about play to earn, but it's on the earn side of that. It's not so much about the play side. So, we're not going to talk about, picking lineups or best strategies or anything like that. We're going to talk about the numeric side, the earnings and the potential and all that kind of stuff. As far as why I might be qualified to talk about that, so I'm, a day one OG for Splinterlands. I've been in the game the entire time. Varying intensity sometimes, but I've been here every day since then, since May of 2018. And I'm as far as I can tell, I'm still the number one individual asset holder aside from Aggroed, and he doesn't count because he's CEO of the company. And I'm 50% of the team behind X Chaos. That was our launch pool token for Chaos Legion, where people are getting a DEC payout every day based on the airdrops that we've received from our collective efforts, which is interesting actually, because we had the first time we have sold out. So we got Wrath, Grandmaster Wrath as the airdrop. We sold all those out. About 2 weeks ago, and that is the first time we have not had anything new to sell. The next day, because SBS airdrop is over, we're out of cards. So now, if you're an X Chaos holder, you're just getting a daily payout because we do like a 1/30th balance that we send out for the daily withdrawal, and then we're just waiting. We're waiting on Conqueror Yasik to drop, and then we'll sell those, and then we'll get another infusion of DEC and all that kind of stuff. But it's the first time that's happened, so it's been a new thing. I'm also 50% of the team behind Venari Syndicate, which is an old-fashioned, real investment syndicate here in the U.S. You need to be an accredited investor to participate, and all we do there is we raise money from our partners, and we deploy that capital into the Splinterlands ecosystem and try to obtain a yield. So the goal there is just to just straight up investment. We have cards that we rent out, we have nodes, we run. Actually, that's it right now. That's all we have. But the nodes are paying out pretty nicely. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but we'll get into those numbers in a minute here. Let me just catch up on chat here. Canada, first time, welcome. Dragon says, hope I'm feeling better. Appreciate that. Want to hear my take on the current matters here in the Splinterlands? Yes, we will get. I was actually just before the show, I was writing up a little agenda or itinerary or something, and I don't know if we're gonna get to it all, but we'll do our best. And Simran in Laz is saying, I use BSwap. Yes, I do. It's the best wallet interface, I think. Is there a way to see your swap history? It's a good question. Let's take a look here. I'm not sure, actually. If I go to... I know you can see your positions. Can I see swaps, like swap history? I can see transfers, but that's not the same thing. That's just in and out. Not that I know of. So that is a good idea. You should suggest that to Gerber, and maybe I will do that as well. Let's see what else we got. Everybody's saying get well soon. I appreciate it. Do I think Yasik's introduction will slow with Riftwatchers coming in? Yes, I do. Although today has changed the numbers quite a bit. How many Roonies am I getting? Roonies are at the end, so that's we'll see how that all works out. But let's go ahead and kind of get the lay of the land, and let's do the theme song while we're at it. I love this song. Is this a song from the town hall? Yes. Well, this is the main theme song. This is a version that Asaria gave me way back when. And so there are multiple versions floating around, and this is the one that I use. But she gave that to me for this show, I don't know, 3 years ago, whenever she first composed it. It's great, whatever the case might be. So what you're seeing here on the stream is the ecosystem value chart. So what I do is before each show, each Tuesday there, I take a snapshot of all the stuff in the Splinterlands. It is, the tokens, the pack tokens of all the kinds, alpha, beta, orbs, untamed, SL dice, and everything. The actual cards values, I get those from the market price from Peak Monsters. Tracks, totems, DEC, SPS, licenses, vouchers, all that stuff. And I calculate the market cap of each one of those things. And this is the result. So you can see here that we've been on a rise since, 7/12. So for the last 2 months, we've been rising nicely. And if we go over to the charts, let's see here. 7/12, which was right in here. So the people who I've heard people argue that Splinterlands is such an isolated thing, it's not correlated to the broader market, all that stuff. Those people are wrong. Nothing against them. I understand the reasoning, but you're just wrong. The data shows otherwise. So it is not 100% correlated. That is true. It does have its own unique elements, but it does follow the overall broader market. Here we had a peak in Bitcoin, which I'm using as a proxy for the whole crypto market back in November, and it's been down ever since. And we saw card values peaked in December and have been down ever since. Not DEC, but SPS had a nice little run up, secondary pump after the initial launch back in November, and was down ever since. And then we had a little resurgence here. But so Splinterlands does have its own dynamics. It does have its own alpha, but it is still, tied to the overall market. After all, SPS, DEC, the two primary liquid tokens, those have liquidity pools against ETH, against BNB. There was some against, I don't know if the DAI DEC pool is still around, but regardless, those liquidity pools create tie-ins to the broader crypto market. And so if the overall market's down, like it is today, we're down 10.12% from yesterday's close, then everything else suffers. So today we've seen vouchers go down, we've seen SPS go down, DEC's gone down, so that hurts. That hurts our market as well, which is unfortunate. I wish we were totally independent, but we're just not. So we have, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's a whole lot of stuff coming out real soon. So subscribe to the channel or terrorists will win. Yes, good advice there, Aggie. So in 1 day and 20 hours, the Riftwatchers goes on sale. And, it's going to be, $5 worth of SPS, basically. Now, that hurts a little bit more when, the price of SPS goes down. So there's been a lot of wondering today, that, with the markets down, with markets likely to continue to go down for the next couple of days, that means we've got to pony up more and more SPS for each individual Riftwatchers pack that you want. So, how is that going to affect people's buying decisions for the Riftwatchers? And then a week after that, we're gonna get tower defense. Same story. It's going to be payable in SPS and vouchers. And then a little bit after that, probably another week after that, we have these Roonies that Yaba was talking about on the town hall yesterday. What is Rule 17 of crypto? That is a secret, Claymore. It's a very, very secret. I tell you, Rule 1. Rule 1 is not your keys, not your coins. So, always secure your keys and do not leave stuff on exchanges that you don't trust. So, like for myself, I never leave coins on exchanges that I want to make sure that I have. I'll on some exchanges I've left some amounts on for just trading purposes, but it's a very small percentage of the total. Mostly, they're just sitting in my wallets of various kinds. So, the CPI headlines came out this morning. Came out at 8.3%, and more importantly, the month over month was up 0.1% when everybody was expecting it to be down 0.1%. So, it was a big miss on the to the upside of inflation. So, the net result is the stock market tanked, and as I've explained or gone over repeatedly on this show, the stock market and the crypto market are pretty tightly correlated right now, and you can see this if we look on the let's look on the 5-minute chart. So right, where was it? Is this in my time? Yes, this is in my time. So down here, you see this big red part where it's up here and then it drops real fast. That's when the CPI numbers came out. The important thing here is that the main stock markets were not open yet because it came out pre-market by about an hour and a half, or an hour. Sorry. So the news came out at 8:30 this morning. The stock markets like the NYSE and the Nasdaq, they don't open until 9:30. There are other markets out there. There's the Arca exchange and there's dark pools and all this kind of stuff. So the institutional traders, they are immediately reacting to this news, both in the crypto markets and in the pre-markets for stocks or stonks. And so we've seen this over and over and over again over the past year and a half or so, where big moves in the stock market means big moves in the crypto markets because it's the same people doing the same trades. It's basically risk off, risk on. So when it's risk off, like, we get a surprise with stronger than expected inflation, which means the Fed is going to have to react stronger than expected. Now they're talking about 100 basis point hike next week instead of 75 basis point hike. All of this is bad stuff for asset prices because, the more the Fed tightens, the more liquidity is drawn out of the system, then the less there is to buy assets. So people want to get ahead of that, and they sell off into that news. So we have this down this down day, and we'll probably get some relief rally tomorrow. But the overall trend is probably going to be down in the macro markets for the next while, and so that means that's going to hit percolating through the system. Bitcoin to Ethereum to BNB to SPS to DEC to vouchers. That's all going to percolate through into the Splinterlands ecosystem. So, and that makes, the number of SPS you have to spend for those Riftwatchers packs, for the Tower Defense packs to be more. Dollar amount stays the same, but the number of tokens goes up as the price of the tokens goes down. So, people have to make decisions. Somebody asked, what my plans are for Riftwatchers. I'm still very undecided, actually. Typically I'll go in, on launches and buy as many as I can. This time, I might be a little bit smarter, and pick up singles, after the launch. But I haven't 100% decided. Tower Defense, I'm definitely going to buy, but that's just because I like Tower Defense games. So, no particular financial insight there. Because, like everything else that we've seen, generally, on the first a couple days or whatever, there's a lack of liquidity of the various cards or tokens or whatever, and so we see high prices. But then as liquidity comes on the market, then prices come down, and typically we're going to see individual prices for individual tokens, individual cards, to be less than their pack equivalent. And back in the early days of Splitting Lands, I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought packs would be cheaper than cards because in packs you have this variability. You don't know what you're getting, so you should apply a discount to that. And then if you're buying an actual, a single card, then you know exactly what you're getting, and you should pay more for that certainty. But that has turned out to not be the case. So, throughout the history of Splitting Lands, it's pretty much been the case that buying singles is going to be cheaper. Now you do miss out on the airdrops, which can be pretty lucrative, depending on how the market values them. But yeah, I'm like 60-40, probably going to buy singles. And then Tower Defense I'll buy in packs just for fun. I don't know how I'm going to do a whole thing about it, but but something. Archmage is saying BTC chart is just DXY chart inverted. Yeah, so that's pretty much true. DXY is the dollar index, which is a dollar against a weighted basket of currencies, mostly the euro, but other things as well, the yen, the pound, and such. Thus the scramble to get vouchers and last-minute nodes at good SPS price this morning. Yeah, so this worked out well for me. So this morning, well, let me back up. Last week, I was looking at all the options in Splitting Lands. It's like, well, I could buy nodes, I can buy SPS, I can buy DEC, I can buy cards and rent them, I can buy cards and put them on Archmage bots, I can buy packs and speculate on those. There's all kinds of things you can do in Splitting Lands. It's the most complicated gaming DeFi system I've ever seen. So then I was trying to evaluate. It's like, well, what's things. What kind of yield will they generate? I could buy more land. Land has 0 yield right now. It should have some in the future. But then there's also capital appreciation, capital risk. What's my upside and downside in terms of just monetary asset value? And the conclusion I came to was that nodes were the best deal going. And if you look on the old shows, the Fully Node show, and all that kind of stuff, I went through all the math as to why. And since the prices of SPS and vouchers have recovered a bit, then the reasons are even more. So basically, in Tranche 1, which is where we are now, the effective cost is $1,900, per node, and the and the cash flow as of when I calculated earlier this morning was about 125% APR. So that's really good. Now, when Tranche 1 sells out, we go to Tranche 2. And the APR is going to go way down, but because the number of nodes that you're splitting the SPS and the vouchers amongst increases, so your individual share per node goes down. However, to make up for that, the capital value of the nodes goes up. We go from 1,900 up to $3,000, something like that. So there's a nice capital upside to counteract the fact that your APR is going to decrease when we switch tranches. But until then, you get to enjoy a really good APR. And who knows how long those last 1,400 some odd nodes will last. It depends on the markets. How much people are going to be exchanging funds into nodes. So. So, yes, I'm alive, somewhat. That's my coof. But, so I was looking at all that last week. I said, okay, for what is available now and what we know of Riftwatchers and Tower Defense, I think nodes are still the best thing going. And so I decided that, I was going to shift over all of my stuff that I had in the liquidity pools over into nodes. And then Yabba said, and we're going to have a special announcement on this undisclosed project and all that kind of stuff. So I said, okay, well, I'll hold off until the town hall and see what Yabba has to say. And, then he talked about the Rooney stuff. So that was cool and all, but it's not like going to affect my massive stack of SPS so much, because they're, $500, $600, a piece. So that's, I'm not going to buy all 6,000 of them, so whatever. So I decided to shift all of my liquidity pool number, values into nodes. and I did that this morning. So, as it happened, because of this news, that kind of accelerated my plans a little bit. What I was gonna do is I was gonna, I already earn vouchers every day from the nodes that I already have, and I was gonna just, as I got those, I was gonna take my SPS and match them up and buy, a node or whatever, each day, and that ended up getting accelerated where I just threw everything into it, and bought I bought was it 27 nodes this morning. So for those of you who saw that little bump up in voucher prices, you're welcome. I hope somebody took advantage of that. I raised the price, I don't know, 3-4 cents on vouchers, and they've since gone down. But I'm now number 4 on the node list. So if we go over to here, SPS validators. Oh, that's weird. Let's look at that. There we go. So I'm number 4. I'm behind SPS Whale by 25. But I've increased. I've created a gap between me and the pack I was in, because it was Cryptomancer, Panda Puzzles, Michael B, and me. We were all like right in 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I took my pool money, because I was thinking about it. I was like, well, am I going to use this SPS in the to buy stuff, or am I only going to be using the yield, the liquidity pool rewards? And I had really decided to only use the yield. So I wasn't going to sell this bag, because I'm long-term bullish on SPS. Buying it at 5, 6, 7 cents. I think we'll look back in like 2-3 years and be like, wow, that was that was a good price. And so nodes are sort of like permanent bonds, in the sense that you are putting that SPS, you're burning 80% of it and 20% goes to the DAO, and but you get a stream of income, which we're starting to get today. Just turned on with this update that we had today, and so you're exchanging SPS now for SPS over time, plus vouchers over time, which are an SPS derivative. So it's for me, it's a good deal, and we'll see how everything shakes out. But I'm confident that for at least the next year, I think when you factor in the APR plus the capital appreciation, if we switch tranches, the return will be over 100% within a year. So a year from today, I'm back to even, and then it's all gravy from there. And so yeah, I'm bullish on nodes, because I'm bullish on SPS long term. Obviously, in the short term, we have all this stuff we have to deal with. We have to deal with, the government CPI numbers. We've got to deal with the Fed. We got to deal with, crypto being in a general winter. Once all that stuff turns around, though, and we get a favorable macro environment, we're off to the moon in a lot of these cases. So Dr. Zoom say, yeah, current rates, they do pay for themselves in a year. That is correct. So that was my macro decision, and it just so happened that it worked out that I was able to spend those SPS before most of the price drop. Trader said, totally agree. Bought my second node 2 days ago. Good job. All right, so I'm curious to hear from the crowd. What are your plans for Riftwatchers and tower defense? You guys going to go hardcore on the launch, on the pre-sales? Because I know, like Gene Pool was saying, I think yesterday, he was saying that he thinks Riftwatchers will sell out within an hour. I am skeptical. So, we'll see how it goes. But they're expensive, and if you look at Dice, which was the most recent mini set, then we can kind of get a sense of what to expect from Riftwatchers. And Dice took a long time. Once they were close to selling out, they went fast. But the rest of the time, it was a slow grind. And I was actually looking at the market cap of Dice, and Gene Pool say that was before the CPI and Fed news. So Dice market cap is that right? That doesn't look right. Oh, that's for the packs. So 221,000 worth of unopened packs, and then the actual cards. Let's call those two things $5 million. So, so 300,000 dice, $5 million. So there's two ways to look at this. We could say, well, Riftwatchers is 10 times the size, so it's going to end up being 10 times the market. After we go through the whole thing, and so that would make it a $50 million set. And then you want to say, well, how much, what percentage of that $50 million, when we're in a sold out condition, do I want to own? Another way to look at it is saying, well, there is $5 million worth of value to go around, and if it's split 10 ways, then the individual price is going to be 10 times lower, or somewhere in between, right? So I mean, the real answer is it's going to be somewhere in between. But the audience is obviously a lot larger now than it was back in when DICE was launched. Many more people playing the game. The whole ecosystem has gone up quite a bit in value. But we're in a bad macro cycle right now. So, how fast will it sell out? When I think the future value is closer to that 50 million than the 5 million. But, it's going to be a long time before that money comes into the system in order to make that realized. So, CPI, no CPI, I don't think Riftwatchers is going to sell out, or pre-sale is going to sell out in an hour. But, I could be wrong. I don't think I will be, though. And as far as tower defense, tower defense is a totally new thing. So it's hard to say what's going to happen there. But, I know I'll be buying there, and that's, because I'm a fan. But otherwise, I'm not really sure how that all is going to shake out. Yvonne is saying that Riftwatchers pre-sale is going to sell it in an hour. Team did an excellent job making a juicy deal. Let's see what else we got. Lunacy says, I just sold my mom a node for her and my sister to split. Nice, very nice. Cimarron is asking thoughts on node SPS rewards being staked when LP SPS rewards are not. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, it creates a delay, but the people who are owning nodes are not the type to just cash everything out, so I don't think it's so important. Butter says buying single cards. Mike HC saying, are you not better off just holding SPS instead of buying nodes? Well, it depends, right? So if SPS moons between now and then, let's say a year from now, then yeah, you would have been better off. But it also depends on your plans, right? So, the stack that I had, in the liquidity pools was never really intended to just sell. So I was always there to obtain yield. And, since that was the general plan, then it doesn't really matter, because from a yield perspective, the nodes are better than the liquidity pools. And, the liquidity pools are pretty much only going to decrease as liquidity is added. The yield on the liquidity pools will decrease as more, SPS and ETH and BNB and whatever else are added. So for my purposes, nodes are better. But other people might have different views and might have different strategies. So if you're just pure speculation, then yeah, holding SPS separately, not pooled, that's going to be your highest bang for the buck. If we get a situation where SPS goes from 6.5 cents to $6 or something. By the way, if SPS hits $6, I'm just retiring. So that's all. I mean, I still have a big stack. I still have a lot staked, and then I'm getting more every day. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. Breezing is saying, I'm planning on loaning money from you so I can buy everything. Fresh out. New Age says, can't resist the enjoyment of opening packs, so buying packs, then complete collection with market purchases. That makes a lot of sense. Yvonne says Riftwatch is going to sell it in an hour. Suitcase says Chaos Legion was supposed to sell it in 24 hours. Also, hype doesn't equate to people actually spending money. Yeah, so I really thought when Chaos Legion General Sale launched, before it launched, I thought we were going to get a very fast sellout kind of condition. But it was the same kind of thing, right? So November was the cycle peak for crypto. The Chaos Legion General Sale didn't hit until December. By that time, a lot of the momentum in the market was gone. Sentiment had turned negative, and a lot of people who would have spent a lot of money didn't. So we ended up not having a fast sellout. But, we still sold, I don't know, was it 3-4 million packs on the general sale premiere. Let's see. Doogie's saying, I would love to see you do apples to oranges comparison on Super Stonks, GME, and Splinterlands. Yeah, I haven't really followed the meme stonks. So, I don't know. The last time I did any TradFi trading was with AMC. And this was the first time, AMC got into the meme group. And it was like at $11 or $12 or something. And I was going to put on a bull call spread. And basically, I would buy, I think it was the 14s, and I sold the 20s, and the trade was almost free because the premium was going crazy when I was trying to put it on, and so I had an account at Interactive Brokers, and if you followed the whole saga, Interactive Brokers was one of the brokerage houses. I mean, the CEO got on CNBC and said, "Oh, we are backing our hedge fund buddies, and screw you guys," and they limited the margin that the margin that you had to put up in order to put on a trade. So where I thought I was going to get like 12 contracts, I got one. And then I was so irate over the whole thing, I said, never again. And I defunded my account, and that was it. I've traded any stocks or TradFi stuff since. Deuce is saying, I took friends and family loans to buy nodes with a guaranteed 10% APR paid out monthly. That is a sweet deal. That is leveraging other people's money because you're making way more than 10%. Let's see. Suke's talking about Chaos Legion launch. Yeah, I mean, millions of packs were sold. So there was that. But not as many as was hoped. Let's see. Dr. Zoom, skipping tower defense. Want to focus on one thing. So the focus on one thing is always, an important thing. Because, we have this Conquer Yasik, and we were getting some momentum in pack sales for a bit, and then they announced all this other stuff. And now, people who are already in the game, there's only so much money to go around. And, do I want to buy Chaos Legion packs, which is a known quantity, which is, not dull, but it's not as exciting as the new thing. So, it's, I think that's going to... I think we've seen that Chaos Legion packs have slowed down. They're still going along okay, but they've slowed down, and where we might have gotten a huge sale in one day to get down to that airdrop level, that's obviously going to grind out a lot longer. Let's see what we got. Icy Flow, should I unstake everything and buy nodes? Up to you, man. Depends on your strategy. Depends on your goals. How did I find Splinterlands back in the day? From Sensational. So I was just on Steam, and I saw people starting to post about this upcoming thing called Steam Monsters, and I thought, that's weird. Why would you want a card game on Steam? And because I was never a trading card game guy. I was never into Magic the Gathering. I was never into Hearthstone. So I ended up buying a couple. When it launched, it was like 3 or 4 packs, and then so there was no game, right? It was the artwork was there, but you couldn't do anything with them. All you could do was sit on packs, open packs, get cards, and then trade cards, and that was it. There were no stats. All you had was the name of the card, the splinter, and the rarity. There was no gold foil, regular foil. It was all regular foil. So I just I bought a couple. I got on the Discord and started chatting with people, and it turned out to be a whole lot of fun. It just before the game, just the trading part was a whole lot of fun. So I just bought more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and I ended up with 3% of the Alpha collection, the Alpha edition. Let's see. Doogie's saying, like TD idea and appreciate love for the community, but I want to see the company generate more new revenue verticals over having new flavor of the ways to use the stuff that we have. And, that's fair. GLS is obviously a new vertical, but it's a totally new thing. Getting the airdrop, so we got the white paper. We're getting, 5% of the tokens are being airdropped to SPS stakers, which was way more generous than I thought it was going to be. How much that's going to be worth? No idea. It depends on how successful the game is. So we'll have to see. I think the existing, Splinterlands audience, there's going to be relatively little crossover between them and GLS. So, if GLS does well, it's going to be because it reaches those soccer fans that want to, have another way of interacting with their favorite teams and players and such. Let's see. Just trying to catch up here. Would you convert any of my current SPS stacks to nodes considering the GLX airdrops? Again, it just depends on how bullish you are on GLS. Now, there is going to be GLS nodes. I forget the name of them, but if you look in the white paper, there's a section on that. I might go in for those. Is the governance token going to do well just because it's a governance token? Well, no. It needs an audience. It needs people who are in there, who are playing, who are making the market happen. And then we will see if the game takes off. So I hope it does. I am not. I don't watch sports. Of the sports I don't watch, soccer is like the last one. So so it is what it is. Show nodes. All right, let's show some nodes. Let's go to. I don't even remember how to do this. Let's see, because I never use the game interface. Always on Peak Monsters or Splex or whatever. But if I go to my inventory, validator license 85 right there. Those are my nodes. And by this time next week, hopefully that'll be 87. Then we'll see how it goes. All right. So big changes are afoot. The Prop 34 is the biggest thing that's coming down the pike. Are totems worth it? We'll see. I don't know. It's like all things lands. It's going to depend on when we actually get stuff. Only 85. Yeah. It's the most popular sport in the world. That is true, Doogie, but not in America. And this is the American League, so I don't know how much that translates to international exposure. We'll find out. So Prop 34 is supposed to come online next week. I'm guessing with the next maintenance window, which will be next Tuesday. So if you guys are not aware, this is a major change to battle rewards. So we know that battle rewards changed from DEC to SPS. Now the SPS is being restricted by league. So before it was just free for all, depending on your R ratings and all that kind of stuff. But the SPS was spread evenly amongst all players within Modern and all players within Wild. And now that's going to be changing next week. And I think this is a great change. And basically it's, 30% is going to Champion, and then 25 to Diamond, and then, on down. So the Bronze and Silver are going to get the least SPS rewards from battling. And that's like half of the rewards. So basically, this is a giant nerf to the low leagues, but which is primarily composed of the bot farmers. So what I did was I went to Commander Chaos's site, which is chaoscommander.retool.com/embedded/public/ a whole bunch of numbers. So he has this reports section, daily reports, average battle. Let's look at average battle value. Let's bring up a date from last week, let's say. That's what they said. That's going to be the 20th. That's what they said. So hopefully that remains on time, because it's going to be a major shift to the game economy. And I'm trying to show you how much of a major shift, but we'll see if this actually works. We're loading. If Commander Chaos is listening, if we could go a little faster, that'd be great. So today, obviously, the data hasn't populated. Let's pick something from last week. So average SPS win by week. So let's see here. Okay, so we got it Modern versus Wild, and League 0 is Bronze, and League 4 is Champion. So, and then 1 is Silver, 2 is Gold, 3 is Diamond, and so forth. So average SPS. I don't know if average is the right measurement. Maybe it should be, median, but whatever. So what we don't have here is the number, which I would like. But basically, with the restrictions of the SPS payouts by league, this number, which is already low, 0.004, is going to go down by probably half. Might be 0.002. This number for Champion League, $1.35, that should go up by, I don't know, 50%, something like that, 30% maybe. And, gold, from my estimates that I did, gold's going to be kind of the same. So bronze and silver get nerfed, gold is kind of roughly the same, and then diamond and champion get buffed. So, what does that mean for gameplay? So, the bot farmers are going to have a decision to make. It's like, do we want to continue to run low-level accounts and try to boost our collection power and compete in higher leagues to get decent rewards, or do we want to actually bite the bullet and either rent or combine, either rent high-level cards or take the cards that we have, combine them, and compete in high levels? Because I know people have different feelings with bots and everything. With the ECR changes and the economy changes that have been made over the past while, I'm fine with them. It's just, the incentives should always be to combine your cards to the highest level and compete at the highest levels that you can. Because it's like, well, think about, we're talking about GLS soccer, right? So you have, rec league, middle schoolers playing soccer, all the way up to professionals in the Major League Soccer, league, and who gets paid the most, per player, right? It's the professionals, and who gets paid the most in total, in aggregate? It's still the professional players. The people at the highest level should always get the most rewards, both overall and individually. So, the way the economy has been over the past however long. Has not been that way. So, like, yes, the individual account, at the highest levels earn more, but in aggregate, if you spread out that same account over, 100, bronze level, level 1 accounts, then you earn more in the bronze. That is not the way it should be. And, they've been making tweaks, and not in arena football. Well, maybe. But, so the incentive should always be that the people at the top end of things get the lion's share of the rewards, and we are, I think, with Prop 34 we might be there. Now there is a potential snag with that. So there's 100,000 level 1 farming accounts out there. If they all decide that we're just going to rent collection power to power up into higher leagues and still keep our level 1 cards, just by flooding the system with number of battles there from all the different accounts, it might still work out, and we'll have to have the change, see how it goes, and see if that ends up being the case. Because so a level 1 account, if you own the cards, it's $20. I'm right now testing max level Chaos Legion accounts, which has all max level Chaos Legion, all max level Chaos Legion rewards. That account's $5,000. So there's a huge disparity between the two. And fun fact, I've got 2 of those running right now. One's on Splintermate, one's on Archmage. And Archmage has been ahead for most of the time, but Splintermate caught up today. So they're both in Diamond 2 right now. We'll see how that goes for the rest of the season. But Tamashon was asking how high are my 1BCX accounts. So I had some 1BCX accounts going. I turned them off because it wasn't worth it to me. But I also own all the cards and wasn't doing any rentals or anything. So Blue Angel or Blue Tangle is saying you still need a good incentive to bring new players. Players at the higher levels already get most of the rewards. So in aggregate, that was not true. It's not even talking about the alpha beta tournaments that only a handful of people can participate in and have enormous rewards. So yes, the alpha beta tournaments are an interesting thing. There's still plenty of tournaments there that just by entering you are making a profit, which is amazing to me. So an interesting thing happened over the last week since the last show. What was it, 2 days ago, 3 days ago? I don't know. Archmage dumped like 500 tokens on the market, just kind of out of the blue, and it's just no heads up, no hey we're doing a sale, no nothing. They're just like, here's we're going to crush the market, and here you go. So I was able to buy 12 of those during that 1 or 2 hours that it was available. And so at the end of this season, a lot of my cards that are on the rental market are being taken off. So if you've been renting my gold alpha foil stuff or my gold beta foil stuff, or my beta gold foils, they're not going to be available. And that's a decent chunk of the rental market in those older categories. So I'm gonna see what Archmage can do, and who was able to buy. Yeah. So we got a few of those, and we'll see how it does, and I'll get some more statistical significance on how well these different services do. But yeah, it's a weird case where people have not taken the incentive like you would expect them to, or at least like I expected them to, in order to take advantage of these essentially risk-free profits. Dan is saying we need SPS staking requirements for battle rewards and max cards equals max rewards change ASAP. Yeah, I'm okay with that. The whole SPS staking thing is interesting. I don't think that's really possible until we get delegations, because people are going to want to rent, just like they rent cards, they're going to want to rent SPS, for those staking requirements. Same thing with the tournaments, having the SPS staked in order to enter. That's a major hang-up. And I wrote a post, I don't know, a month or two ago, to Weirdbeard, and I said, hey, we should use vouchers instead of SPS staking for tournaments, and that would dramatically increase the ability for people to enter tournaments. And well, that hasn't happened. So I don't know. I think it's a good idea, but I guess they have other priorities or other thoughts about the whole thing. So so with this Prop 34 change next week, then the lower leagues are going to be way less profitable than they have been, and that's already have been cut down. Mrs. delegation's being worked on. Excellent. So the rewards for bronze and silver going way down, and we'll have to see how the farmers react. Hopefully they make the right decision and they start fielding higher level teams. I do have a little bit of concern about the flooding effect, but like I said, we'll have to wait and see. It'll probably take a couple seasons to gauge the market reaction to the whole thing. The flip side of that is that if they do go for the flooding effect and just want to rent collection power, Venari Syndicate has a whole bunch of collection power for rent. So those were doing really well until the first round of changes a few months ago, and then those have kind of sucked since. So those might make a comeback, which would be nice. But for the game, I'd rather just see them buy and combine cards to a higher level. So obviously there's going to be pros and cons to everything, but I think Prop 34 is going to be a good thing overall. And Idan is saying, I doubt they will move up. They'll most likely shut down. I'm already seeing people crying about rental revenues. Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. I've always been of the strong belief that the farmers will always go after the ROI. So if it's worth it, then I think they will do it. The question is like, well, there's a bit of a chicken and egg problem, right? So there's tons of 1BCX cards that are being rented out to the farmers, and those cards have to be combined in order to provide liquidity for the farmers to compete at higher leagues. But then there also has to be that demand before the people who have the cards want to do the combinations. So a little bit challenging to navigate that, but hopefully we will see some changes here. And I mean, what else are they going to do with the money? Where are they going to get better returns than Splinterlands? And if they have a better place, then let me know, because I would be interested in whatever that better place is. But to date, Splinterlands has been pretty damn good for profits, for cash flow, for appreciation and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely ups and downs, but over the history, it's been pretty phenomenal. And then we have about 10 minutes left, so I did want to talk about the Rooney thing. So on the town hall yesterday, Yaba announced that we're going to have these profile picture NFTs on OpenSea. So if you've listened to me for any length of time, you've heard my rant probably about how lands are phenomenal. Just people in general love land virtual land stuff, and they're going to love Splinterlands land that's actually functional, produces these NFTs, is involved in the game, has the management aspect. That's all great. But we need to go where the money is, which is on Ethereum. And so, there is a bridge function between Splinterlands on Hive and Ethereum. And Splinterlands has collection on OpenSea already. It's had it for years. But when, gas fees went insane, they shut everything down. So as far as I know, the functionality is still there. But it's just like if you go into Splinterlands and try to export your card to Ethereum, it just says, it's not available. So, I've been saying that lands, well, one needs to be, done, and then two, it needs to be available to sell on Ethereum. And even better would be you hold it on Ethereum, and when you play a game, it scans your wallet address to make sure that you have these various NFTs, and then you're able to play it interoperably in the game. And that's essentially what these profile picture NFTs are going to be. So fingers crossed, Yabba, if you're listening, you could think about this same sort of system for lands. I'm just putting it out there. I think it's going to be gangbusters if that is implemented. If lands are locked on Hive and then exportable to Wax and that's it, then the market impact is going to be much less, just because the money is on Ethereum. So what I wanted to do was kind of if none of you have ever played around with profile picture stuff, on OpenSea, then it's worth checking out. And I usually do it in a different browser because I have different browser profiles. But so we're looking at roughly 0.3 ETH of mint price, which is how these things are looked at. So if we just explore here, come on, OpenSea. Now, NFT volume just in general is way down because the overall market's way down. So that's something to consider, part of that macro backdrop. If these profile pictures had launched in November of last year at the market peak, this would have been like $10,000 a card, that kind of thing. But it's not. So it's they should have gone on Solana. No, Solana's terrible. I mean, Solana's fast. When it's online. They've had a couple of outages and they have things where it's losing time and all that kind of stuff. But no, I mean, the money's on Ethereum, and you can look at the market caps of things to prove that. But so these are all different NFT projects. Some of them are purely artistic. I want to look at this cool picture. I don't know these particular ones at all, but you can go into, let's look at S4 Genesis, whatever that is. You can go into the collection, and it's a marketplace, and people are buying and selling. They have all these different pictures, so you can see, like in this case, they have different types of hair, different skin colors, different eyes, different eye makeup. So this is kind of standard for a profile picture project, where they have variations on a theme. So they'll have like a random assortment of models, and then they have all these different attributes, and they get mixed and matched as you mint them. So you click usually a button on a website which calls a smart contract on Ethereum, and that creates the NFT right then, and then it picks randomly from the possible values. And so you end up with 6,000, 10,000, however many unique characters that are created as they are minted. And then, based on the parameters of the project, you'll have different base types and different rarities of different combinations have different amounts of rarity within the project and all that kind of stuff. It reminds me of Block Monster. Yeah, that was a similar kind of thing. So it's, I mean, like I said, all the graphics are, I don't want to say irrelevant because they do drive popularity, but they're just JPEGs, right? The cool thing about what Yabba's talking about is that you'll have this thing on Ethereum. You'll look in your MetaMask wallet or you'll look in your collection on OpenSea, and you'll be able to see all these different things. But then you'll be able to play those in the game, and that's a utility that most of these things don't have. There was even something about on this page, Wolf Game Genesis Land. I have no idea what this game is, but chances of this actually working in a game right now is low. Usually these things are, pre-sale things to fund development, and then a year or two later maybe you get something functional. So I have land in the Treeverse on Ethereum, and I haven't checked on it recently, but last I looked, there was still nothing. It's just a founder's plot of whatever. So that's what profile pictures are, or what the PFP NFTs are, and then OpenSea is the largest marketplace for those. There are others, and if they gain popularity, maybe they'll get listed on some of those others. But it's a neat idea, and definitely another spin on the whole thing, and it starts to give us that exposure to the mainstream DeFi gaming crowd, which is going to be on ETH and BSC and to a more limited degree on Polygon, but it's going to be an interesting experiment to see how that goes. But however it goes, I still think this is the way we should go for land when it is functional. I think that is the key to getting a 10x over there. Let's see. People arguing in the chat about how good OpenSea is versus other things. Everything's, there's always pros and cons. Nothing is perfect. So, I like to say nobody's ever happy, which is generally the case. But we gotta try stuff and see what works. So yeah, there's gonna be the estimate is there's gonna be 6,000 of these things for about $500 a piece, and probably get a half 50% discount with using vouchers, which is kind of the standard model that has been evolved over the last year or so. So I think it's gonna be good stuff. So coming up in the next few weeks, right? We've got Riftwatchers, we've got Tower Defense, we've got these Roonies. Am I missing anything else as far as like SPS and voucher utility? More nodes, obviously. So I like the trend that we're seeing in that there's more use for SPS and vouchers at lower price points, because nodes have been there, but they're so expensive that it's hard for people to actually use them, because they're not going to drop $2,000 on a node. But here we're talking about $5, $8, and then in the case of the Roonies, 500 or so. So it's a much more reachable price point, which is going to drive more people to be able to take advantage of it, which I like. So it's all steps in the right direction. So if we hadn't had this market drop today, I would say that vouchers trading at 70-80 cents, we still have plenty of upside. In the face of that market drop, it makes it a little more difficult. So we'll have to see how everything shakes out over the next couple weeks. But I think once we get past this market turbulence, that there very well could be a much stronger floor for the price of SPS and vouchers than we have seen in the past. Because we kind of saw like let's call it 5 cents on SPS and 30 or 40 cents on vouchers. I think those levels where just everybody's just going to pile in and buy because the price is too attractive, I think those levels are now going to be higher. SPS I'm not sure about, but I would be surprised if we saw vouchers below 60 cents again, just ever, because of the new and then ongoing utility for those things. Win common promo card for 10 SPS plus 1 voucher. Yeah, pitch it to the team and see what happens. I'm a huge fan of like special cards, like we had the Halfling Alchemist. I think that was a great initiative. Obviously, it's more work for the team, but I would love to see like a quarterly promo of some sort, or obviously Rooney's is going to be one of them. But it's fun to just celebrate stuff, So and then it provides more uniqueness amongst decks to if there's limited editions of all these different things. So it's like, oh, I've got this guy, of which there's only 500. But you've got that other guy, there's 3,000 of those, but it's more workable in the current meta and all that kind of stuff. So the real question: how much time until tranche 1 of licenses is over? You think they're selling pretty fast? They are selling pretty fast. So in the last week, and this will be the last thing because we are out of time. In the last week, we went from 3305 to 3588. So that's 280, let's call it. 280 nodes sold. I mean, granted, 25 of those are me, but still, I mean, that's a lot of nodes that have been sold. I don't know. It's going to be quicker rather than slower, I think. But that is all the time we have for today. Thanks, everybody, for coming out, and we'll see you next time.